Ady Myers, you're back in the Horizon Gallery with another tank.
I am. It's always a pleasure to be asked to do Escape.
I absolutely love this one. I really, really do. So much detail. But that's kind of what you're known for.
I do like using some graded gravels and such like, yeah.
Graded gravels, you went absolutely crazy on this one.
Well, it all came part of the idea, so it was good to, with your new range of Horizon Zone gravels.
Yeah, it's quite a few now.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
We'll run through equipment on this to start off with. So we've got the ADA 6045.
Yep, a little bit wider.
Yeah, we've got the Horizon cabinet to support it.
Yep, very nice.
Biomaster 350 Thermo.
Yep.
And then we've got the Skylight Hyperbar 60.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be doing a grand job.
It's doing a very nice job.
How old did we say this was? Was it
4.5 months?
That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
From the start to now is just bonkers.
Yeah,
Absolutely bonkers. So the hardscape process in Ady, what was going through your head?
You asked me to do Escape and I had no idea what I was going to do, and then I was in the hardscape room playing in the dojo and saw this wood, which I hadn't even seen before, which is Black Moor.
Yeah, it is a new one to us.
It's like Red Moor but black.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I thought it looked pretty cool, so I got that out, and then there was a couple of pieces of Myoken wood, which is a really pale wood.
Yeah.
And it was a contrast that I liked, and I'd never used different woods. And I thought it would be really cool to do a tank that had really contrasting, what's the word?
Like a clash of colour strip.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really see now, but originally, the plan was, when I saw that, the base of the tank would look more like it had been burnt in some sort of forest fire, and then the planted bit would grow in and it would be taken back over after the fire almost. Yeah.
See, word on the street says that you're creating a story in the gallery. Don't know how true this is.
No, that's you. You're creating that story.
So previously you did Escape and you called it, was it the meteorite? Or,
yeah. Which was over there. Yeah.
The theory is that the meteorite hits a forest, and I think this is the aftermath of it.
Right.
Like, I really do. Like, the forest fire is now taking over, and I'm waiting for the next one. I'll need to know the next part of the story.
That'll be really easy. Everything will just be completely black and gone.
But it's a brilliant concept. Like, we've not seen out like this before. So, like you were saying, you're using like the black lava and the Black Moor wood to create like the burning effect.
Yeah.
And then you've got the forest behind it that's kind of getting rather, I don't know if it's recovering or if it's like getting burned. It's a really cool concept.
I think it's recovering, although now you could argue it's like, it looks almost like flames, doesn't it, with the colour tones almost. It's
crazy.
But no, I think the concept was originally that there'd been some sort of forest fire or some, I don't know, it could have even been like a lava flow or something, and the lower part of the forest was burnt away.
The meteorite hit the earth and then caught it on fire.
James,
that is exactly what happened.
You go with that, James, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Even down to the fish, we've got Amapa Tetras in there.
Yeah.
And they just go so well.
Yeah, they're a subtle fish, and people don't really use them very often, but they're a really beautiful fish, but quite understated, so they work perfectly in here,
Yeah. So take us through the whole process in Ady. Where did you begin?
It was literally this dark moor wood in the dojo, in the hardscape room. I got it out and I thought it looked like, it's very rooty, isn't it? But the pieces are quite small, so there's a lot of detail in them. And then when I saw them two pieces of Myoken wood, which was a really pale wood, it's all obviously gone dark now underwater, but I just liked the contrast between them, and I thought it would tell a really good story from the very start. When you see the hardscape, when you look back on the hardscape anyway, you can see that it's a huge contrast, and obviously the plants, because they're in vitro, were really quite small, so it was like after the forest burnt, and it was the start of the regrowth from there. But this was what started it, this Black Moor root, and it started from the base, and then them two pieces of wood, which are more like trees, I guess. But the plants have done a really great job of filling this one out, because other than the detail in the foreground, the two stumps were relatively unobtrusive in the scape. It was limited above because I wanted more plant mass afterwards.
So you started off with the big pieces first.
Well, there was these two pieces ultimately because they were what were there that were the light pieces, and then there was a lot of these smaller Black Moor ones. Yeah, so I knew I wanted the Black Moor route, and then I worked from them, and then just had the two stumps afterwards.
Yeah. Okay.
But obviously the concept works really well with the black lava rock.
Yeah.
And then obviously you had this black galaxy sand and galaxy gravel, Horizons Galaxy gravel range.
Yeah.
So they all go really well together with a theme to create this dark base layer.
Gloomy sort
that had
of
been
look.
burnt. It was like ashen and
they do work extremely well together.
Yeah.
You can see the end result before it even happens, before you put it all together.
Yeah, it was probably a bit crazy, really, when you look at it. I mean, people don't tend to use mixed woods or even mixed rocks and things in scapes, but I know you can do it. It's just, I guess...
When we're setting up scapes, I know, I'm a total different aquascaper to, let's say, yourself. You're not scared about, head first straight in there and just going crazy with it. Where with myself, I'm a bit more reserved, so... Personally, I would have gone for all the same types of woods, same types of rocks and stuff like that. But you look at not just the wood textures, you're looking at every single aspect, the detail, the colour contrast.
Yeah, and the concept, I guess. When I'd never thought of anything like this before, but when I saw that black wood, I thought it was really, really unusual. And it doesn't look like a natural wood specifically, so there had to be a reason. There has to be, I guess, a reason for it to be black, it was. So, the whole burnt and then ashy sort of foreground concept.
Straight away, you've just explained it there. You can look at a piece of hardscape and tell a story from it straight away. Yeah. Where for me, I was like when it first came out, I was thinking, God, this is limited. How are you supposed to use this? But you've straight away made a story out of it. Yeah. A lot of aquascapers look at a tank and go, right, I'm going to do an irigumi or a Ryaboku or a nature aquarium. They keep to one concept. You've got a story behind it. I think, I don't know, your scapes seem to kind of get better and better all the time because I think you are adding a story to it.
It's good when you get free rein to do something like this. It seems a bit crazy when you first start it, but overall, when you look at it now, it doesn't look like a crazy idea. It grows in beautifully like a planted tank, any planted tank really, but there is a story behind it.
Yeah.
Not all my scapes have a story behind them, and some of them are just scapes because they're scapes and they look cool, but that, like I say, that wood was what started it when I just thought that's really cool, that wood, I'd like to try and use that. And then obviously this tank as well, because it's a little bit wider than your standard 60p size, you get a bit of extra depth, so you can tend to put a bit of effort into a more detailed foreground. Because the concept was to leave the foreground relatively bare from plants. Yeah. Not put lots of epiphytes in all the roots and things because it had literally just been burnt away. The lower layers have been burnt, so it's about how then it grows back into it, which it's doing beautifully with all these little bits of moss and things here. That even the Pinnatifida UK is creeping little bits down, and Rotala Mexicana Goyos, that's creeping really nicely in the moss. It's beautiful. But
getting back to, when you said about the lower level being burnt away, even down to the detail of this piece of wood.
When I set this scape up, obviously this is a piece of Myoken wood, and obviously that's not the same as the Black Moor. So this long piece here, it was really in your face, and it was really going against the idea, really, this big light piece of wood that crept down into it. I didn't want that, so I knew we needed to plant it to disguise it because the wood itself was a little bit straight. But secondly, this bit down here was actually obviously a really light colour tone, so we obviously...
It was crazy the way you disguised that, because I thought, how was he going to disguise this? But just talk us through that. How did you...
Well, it wasn't... It was super glue. It's galaxy sand, basically. So it's black sand and super glue.
So you just kept on layering it up until you got the texture.
Just rubbed super glue on it and then sprinkled the sand on effectively until it was all covered, It would have been easier to do it before it was made into the hardscape. If I'd done it out of the tank, it would have been a lot easier. But in the tank, trying to stick sand to the underside of a bit of wood so it stays dark is... Yeah, it was a bit tricky.
Honestly, it's a clever technique. Like, we sometimes use that technique when you're doing it in like wood to wood, like in small little segments. But to do a whole, because that's quite a big area to do that with, and there's no kind of, it's risking it for a biscuit, I suppose. And it paid off, obviously. Like, it looks cool.
Yeah, well, it was a piece. I didn't really consider it when I first set it up, but when I saw the pictures of the actual hardscape afterwards, I was like, I can't have that bit of wood that's like that really light colour tone in the middle of all what's supposed to be the burnt.
The burnt part,
yeah, it just doesn't look right. So yeah, we had to do something about it, and now we are.
So soil you used on this was Aquascape soil.
Yep.
And you know what? We didn't have much issue with this tank. It actually went super smooth. Hardly any diatom. Plants settled in very, very quickly. We didn't get rapid growth straight away, but you could just tell that they footed in straight away and they looked healthy. Where I think half the battle with this tank is because we used a lot. Well, I think all of it. Is all of it ADA? Yeah, all of it was ADA plants as far as I know.
Yes, I think they are. I think even the Anubias are. Oh, I don't know. Bits of boost. I think there's a couple of bits of Catarina boost.
With it being all in vitro and them in like nutrient-rich gel, sometimes transition them over from in vitro to go in submerged straight away. Sometimes you do get the odd little bit of dieback and stuff. But with this tank, it seemed to just be smooth and we had no issue. And like we were saying before, 4.5 months from you building it to what we've got now is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
it really is.
Really good. I don't help with growing the plants or James. that's our job. That's the light and the CO2 and the maintenance and everything. Yeah,
but obviously, really, honestly, it was a breeze. Like as far as
the Myoken wood, it did that. It's a bit like red moor when it goes fungusy. I think in fact these bits still did that, didn't they? The fungus. So that was the only thing which you always get with that type of wood.
Actually,
but, yeah, as far as the plants are going, then.
But that's just like natural biofilms that come out and. Once you put your cleanup crew in, like your Otter Synclus and the Amano shrimps, they soon took care of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks cool.
I'll tell you what else is cool. I've just noticed now the little Kuhli loach. There's a little Kuhli.
Oh yeah.
One there as well, and one there.
Oh yeah.
This all this sort of stuff's ideal for them. I love seeing them.
See, that's another thing as well. Is like you pick unusual fish as well. Like I've noticed in all your scapes, even at home ones, you know, you always pick something that's a bit out of the norm and looks a bit more unusual.
Yeah.
Where I suppose
that's the thing.
With us, we tend to like play it safe and get like, I don't know, the more, I suppose,
traditional.
Yeah. Yeah. Where we Kuhli loach and let's get something like unusual in there. Like you've even got, I think you got American flagfish in here as well, and what are a little bit different to the norm.
I think all of them things, though, the Kuhli loaches and the flagfish, they're not a standout fish. They're not the fish that, like, obviously the main fish in this tank are the Amapa Tetras, so they're what people see generally. But like, it's nice when you're sitting watching a tank to, like, you get a little surprise every now and then with a little Kuhli loach popping out. Yeah. It's just I don't know. I love fish as well, so. It's always been one of them things. I tend to overstock all my tanks with fish, so it's cool to be able to have little things like Kuhli loaches and that in tanks like this as well. Yeah,
well, it just brings that element of surprise, doesn't it, when they come out. So planting then, Ady.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll point out the biggest one in here. So that's the Pinnater Feeder UK.
Yep, beautiful plant.
It's nowhere near as big as the normal one.
No.
And it's got more red tones to it. And I think looking at it, it looks more serrated, I would say, as well. It's it's got more of an aggressive look, I suppose, than the normal Pinnater feeder.
It's a really, really nice plant, and it really suits this scape because it adds, with the limited hardscape in the upper regions, it adds a lot more interest straight away to the actual tank as a whole. So it's a really good plant to use. And
it takes off quickly as well.
Yeah, I haven't used this one. When we set this tank up, obviously, we wanted to use quite a lot of plants that we hadn't used before. Yeah. So loads of these are all new to me. Yeah. But, like, fortunately, you're growing them and I'm not. Yeah. Because I'd probably kill that Pinnater feeder because I'm no good at growing Pinnater feeder.
You know what? That one, so Pinnater feeder in general, like, can be quite tricky, but touch wood. I need to touch some wood now. There. This one's not been that bad. Like,
Good.
it really hasn't.
I know from the very start it was like a really prominent plant. It grew in really quickly, didn't it? And it was it really added to the scape straight away, so it was definitely a good choice.
Yeah. The next one I can see is, like, you can just see it in the middle at the back. I don't know if you can see it. The mermaid weed.
Yeah.
Its common name is. So that's...
Prosopicana palustris.
Yes. Good job you remembered that.
Yeah, I didn't. I had to practice beforehand.
Oh, did you? Yeah, that's a cool plant.
Yeah, that's right in the middle. Like
really
the thing with this tank is a lot of these colours, I didn't know what they were going to be like exactly because I've never even used them, but a lot of the colour tones are quite similar, which actually, it gives a really soft and quite a calm look to this scape, I think. It's really nice, but yeah, that Prosopicana in the middle, yeah, the colour tones, I know it can go a lot redder, but these ones are like more orange, a bit more like a bit more like this Pinnater feeder. So they all kind of, they work really well together. Yeah.
So what plant do you want to talk about next in Ady?
Ooh, background.
Background.
The plan always was, it was like a little bit foresty, so I knew I wanted high background stem plants. Yeah. Ideally with a more central, probably like an open space, but they've kind of grown
I'm going to say we're going to need to chop that.
Yeah, well, they can have a trim, but there still is a lightness of plants in there. But yeah, I mean, a stem-heavy background, definitely, just to fill in the space and add the extra layers and depth that you don't... Obviously, because the foreground's bare, the planting was a bit further back, so I knew it wanted to be more plant-heavy towards the rear. And yeah, that's another...
Nanjing?
Yeah, another new one. Never grown that before. But again, the colour tones on that of... Like it's quite green, but near the tips it's gone orangey pink, which is really nice as well. But another really fine textured plant. So a lot of these plants in here are highly textural. So it adds a really nice feel to the scape because.
Well, you say that they're really fine textural, and I can see from here. And I couldn't remember if you planted it or not, to be honest. But obviously you have. There's Cryptocoryne spiralis red coming through.
There is, yeah.
Can you see it from where you are?
Yes. Well, I know there was a bit in this middle here, and I can see a leaf there, and I'm sure there's a little bit more over here, but there is another bit.
Oh,
there,
yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Well, no, I think that's Cryptocoryne. There's a few little spots of that as well, and they just add details, and a lot of the leaf textures, with Pinnater feeder, you're going to get like a long Lancelot leaf. I mean, it's serrated, but the crypts, again, they're a bit similar to that, but they're just slightly different. So you have to look at this scape, I think, to see the different plants, because
there is a lot of texture.
There's quite a lot of different types of plants, but they're all, like with the colour tones, they all kind of, I wouldn't say they blend nicely anyway, but you have to work a little bit harder to see the difference in the plants. But yeah, it's really nice, actually.
Is it Rotala Nanjing on both sides?
Both sides, yeah. Both sides. Yeah.
I can't remember what else we've got in here, because everywhere you look, there's something different.
Liminophila Hipporoides mini.
Yes.
No, not Hipporoides.
Aromatica
mini. Yeah, which is another slightly different texture, but a lighter colour tone.
Like, I think it's cool because it is mini.
Yeah.
Like, it still looks like it's going to turn into a massive stem plant, but it just doesn't. Yeah, and it's cool.
No, it's nice. And then I think there's a bit of the Staragini, the red one, I can't remember what it's called.
Staragini
Portobello, yeah, I like the mushrooms. Yeah, that's in there.
But that's really interesting plant, that.
Yeah, it's changed loads, because when we first planted it, the leaves, it looked just like normal repens with a red stem, but the leaf shape has gone really small and really needle-like almost. Which is unexpected, I think. I don't know whether it's always like that or not, or whether it's just due to condition or...
It's our first time using it as well, so I don't know. We'll have to try it in another scape and see if it still looks like that. But honestly, again, a totally different plant to any other. Looks good.
Yeah, it's really nice. Good. Yeah, and then there was... Hygrophila araguaia in here as well, but it was more in the middle at the back, but I don't think
it's been out competing.
It might have been, I don't know. I can't see so much of it anymore. But also there's Tenellum red. There's only a tiny bit, but what you can actually see is just there, coming down in that moss.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tiny bit of Tenellum red in here as well.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that was in the middle also, so I don't know whether that's been out competed, but you still do pick up the odd
It's nice that you can see it coming through at the front, though.
And the red tones are really cool, because it's like the Mexicana there that's slightly red tones as well. So
see, that is so. I remember when me and Nicole first saw that at ADA Gallery in Japan. It's just absolutely mind blown. I was like, a carpet in Rotala, and honestly, it's a stunning plant, and it looks awesome even in here as well.
It's really cool the way it's grown forward in amongst the moss as well. It's
like little tiny red stars.
Yeah. There's a little bit more over here as well, which is a little bit, you don't see it as much as that one, but it's a really nice plant. It's a really nice transition plant actually from like a foreground to a midground.
Yeah.
But it's working really well.
The moss. What moss was that? I can't remember.
Peacock moss, I think.
Yeah, peacock moss.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
But it's really cool the way that is actually. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do, which was to grow down this stump here. But also, it's really cool how it's hanging over the lava rocks there, and then little bits how they've self-attached onto both the wood and the rocks in the foreground. Just these little bits. It's really cool because it is just the plants are growing back into what was burnt before.
As far as I know, it's not as vigorous as like the other mosses as well. What's good, because even though moss takes a while to get going, once it does, it just takes over. Where, as far as I know, because to be honest, I don't trim this either. As far as I know, like keeping an eye on it, obviously, like here all the time, it's not a vigorous growing moss. What's good, because like it kind of just takes the edge of it away a little.
Well, it gives you the opportunity to regulate it a little bit more. Sometimes if you let moss go, it can get absolutely everywhere and you can't do anything about it, and it's really invasive. But what I like about it clearly as well is it's another moss that attaches like Java moss. Like the Taxiphyllum barbieri, it clearly does attach, which is really cool as well, because some mosses tend to not attach so well, and then they do end up everywhere then, especially if they get overgrown, they just detach. But this one's really good because it is just growing onto things, which is really nice.
There's an Anubias as well.
There is. I think that's petite, mini petite maybe. I'm sure it was an ADA one actually. That
was a petite then.
Yeah, ADA petite. Yeah.
So it is CO2 injection. That's obviously why it's like grown as fast as it is really.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of plants in here that are advanced. So you've got the Rotala that we were talking about earlier, the carpeting Rotala. That's Mexicana.
Yeah.
That needs CO2. There's I can never say it, the pearlweed. That's
Proserpicana palustris.
Yep. So that one needs CO2 as well.
Proserpicina, I think it is. Anyway, I always say it wrong. Proserpicina palustris. I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah. When you need Rachel to talk about plants,
probably. Yeah. Get on the plant index.
But yeah, so there's a lot of plants that need CO2. So this is a full CO2 system on here.
I just think it's really cool the way it's grown in. I think the initial vision was to have the high stems in the background with all the more detailed plants in the foreground and midground, and the wider tank allows you to have the open foreground, which helps tell the story, but gives you plenty of room to work with to add your layers of plants. So I think it sometimes having the extra width on a tank is nice to work with, because it gives you a little bit more. It makes scaping a little bit easier anyway. You can do it in narrower tanks, but it's much harder to get everything you want in, whereas when you've got a slightly wider tank, you can afford to lend yourself a bit of freedom and a bit of free space where you don't have to do anything with it at the front.
Yeah, and it keeps all your fish forward when it's a bit like open space as well, doesn't it? Yeah. Thank you very much, Ady, for putting your stamp on the gallery once again.
Thanks, man. Thank you for letting me do another one.
I'm glad that it's lived up to expectations of what you were wanting. So you guys at home, write in the comments, do you think this is burning away, or do you think it's recovering? Let us know what you think. You take care. See you on the next one.
I was pulling all sorts of faces in that there.
Was you actually? I just said.
I was going. When you were going, or is it regrowing back in? I was going.
No, that's quite good, that. Switch off all them pumps, do you know how to do it?
45 pump.
90p that I did. I don't know if you remember. Oh dear.
I love it when the lights go out.
Power cut.
Hello, little fishes. several little fishes.